Welcome to the Doggy Style Podcast, where self-development meets animal wellness, with your host, myself, Kelsey Kyle. My mission is to create content that brings people healing through animals. When I found my love and passion for dogs, and most importantly, started to take action to help them in my own way, this is when my whole life changed and my path to self-development really began. I'll be sharing all the tools that have helped me throughout the years, from finding my passion and pursuing it, overcoming OCD, anxiety, coming out of the closet, and honestly, the list goes on. Some weeks I'll be interviewing guests to open up new perspectives, and other weeks I'll just be diving in solo. So make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode, and connect with me by leaving a rating or a review, or follow me on Instagram at Kelsey W. Kyle. And in true doggy style fashion, all of the episodes will be honest, raw, authentic, and absolutely no topics are off limits. If it's something I feel more people should be talking about, I promise you will find it here. So, you know that one thing you've been wanting to do for a while now? Maybe it's been days, maybe weeks, maybe months, maybe even years. Starting this podcast took me a year to finally just start. And boy, am I so happy I did. Part of me wishes I had started earlier because it's so fun to do and create and share and hopefully help people. I really love every second of it, but also another part of me, more of me, knows that I started at the perfect time. Who knows, maybe if I would have started a year ago when I first started to think about it and wonder about it, maybe I would have done one episode and just called it a freaking day. For real. And why? Why do I think that? Because a year ago, I was not the person that I am today, that I am right now. Shit, I don't even recognize myself half the time now. I can't even imagine who I was a year ago. I think it's so important to be able to differentiate exactly what type of resistance is coming up when we think about starting that business or starting that YouTube channel or starting that new hobby, whatever it is you're wanting to start, whatever it is you're wanting to do, to create, to act on. What's the resistance telling you? And is it from your soul or from your ego? Thinking back, I think the reason it took me a year to finally start my podcast, it didn't have anything to do with resistance. I actually didn't feel much resistance at all. It's just my drive just wasn't all the way there for me. I was just curious about possibly starting a podcast, and that's it. So I waited to see if my urge and my pull towards it would grow or if it would lessen. And then eventually, about a year later, my drive to finally start my podcast was undeniable. So I listened, and here we are. We made it. When I start something, anything, a workout plan, a specific diet, anything, I like to go all in. I give it all of me, so I'm clear if this thing is for me or is it not for me. So I did exactly that with my podcast. It's not good or bad to wait. Just know why you're waiting and make sure it's not because of fear. Fear of failing, fear of looking dumb, fear of no one listening or caring. If you're listening to those thoughts, I promise you that's not serving you and they never will serve you. And if you're allowing your fears to control you, to control what it is you want to do, same. Never, ever, ever going to serve you. So once you're aware of these thoughts that can control your life if you let them, if you listen to them, instead, you can recognize them, acknowledge them, and you can be the judge. You can be the judge of them. You, your higher self, your soul, not your monkey mind, not your ego. Listening to your ego will only keep you stuck and afraid. That's where it likes you to be. Your ego doesn't want you to get out of your box. It doesn't want you to leave your comfort zone because your comfort zone is safe and known and familiar. You've lived there most of your life because there's nothing much to fear there. That's why the second, and I mean the second, you leave that safety net, aka doing things outside of your comfort zone, your mind becomes flooded with fearful thoughts that only bring you down if you listen to them. So realize that's just your ego doing its job, and damn, it is so good at its job. But your ego is not who you want to be in charge. You are in charge. So take your power back and acknowledge that those thoughts and your ego are there because, sorry to break it to you, those fearful thoughts will always be there and will get louder if you keep learning and keep growing. But I promise you, once you get comfortable with them, they really aren't that loud anymore. And they aren't there all the time. So if they'll always be there regardless, why not have them there while you go after what you want? You're the captain of this ship, no one else. And you can remind your ego, I hear you, but I got this. Thank you. And thank it because your ego has kept you safe all your life. You just don't need it as much now because now you know yourself. You know who you are. You know what your purpose is, why you're here. And you know that no matter what comes your way as you're progressing and growing forward, that you got it handled. Whatever is ahead of you, you can't only handle it, but you can thrive with it. Since March of this year, so basically the start of quarantine, I spent a lot of time trying to get more clear on my personal brand and my niche so I can, make sure my content is clear and focused and concise. And after a lot of long phone calls with my friend Raphael, he is super knowledgeable in content marketing in general. And together, we became very aware of the connection between dog development, dog training, animal wellness as a whole, and its connection with self-development, with self-improvement. And if you didn't know, that's the subject of my podcast, where self-development meets animal wellness. And that's because it rings so true to me. So true for me. Every day I find more and more evidence for it. For instance, you can't expect your mind not to come up with crazy reactive thoughts when you go new places and do new things. Just like you can't expect your dog to never be reactive to a new person, a new dog, or a squirrel your dog sees on a walk. They will react. They're alive, aren't they? So they will react. And the important part is how you react to these crazy thoughts of yours, just like it's all about how you react to your dog's reaction. You can get mad at your pup for lunging at the stranger that passed you on your walk, or you can lightly correct your dog, be present with them, make them feel seen, feel safe, feel secure, and show them that you got this handled, and show them that there's nothing to be afraid of. Show them that you're the pack leader, not them. That's too much pressure for them. Same thing with your mind. Take control over it. Take control of it. Show it you got everything under control. And by control, I mean you're grounded, you're present, you're ready, you're open. Hence, you're prepared, fully prepared for whatever is coming your way. Resistance comes up and our mind gets involved when we're doing something we've never done before, when we're going somewhere we've never been before. That's a good sign. That means you're learning. That means you're growing. That means you're starting to take control of your mind, take control of your life. So keep doing it. Keep going there. Go to your edge and live there. Be on the verge of letting yourself down. Be on the verge of letting others down. Be on the verge of failing, because that's living. That's living without fear. That's living without fear controlling you. That's courage, and that's how you get what you want. That's how you get your dream life. Life is a game. Are you going to play or not? Are you going to give your all or not? Because I promise you, when you're old and on your deathbed, you will regret not giving your all, not doing that thing. There's going to be a million little things, but there's also going to be that one thing you've always wanted to go for, but never did. And for what? Because of fear? Because of false evidence appearing real? Because you're afraid to fail, afraid of being humiliated? And this is an interesting one. Maybe you're afraid of actually getting everything you want. Maybe you're afraid of being very successful. Think about that one. I definitely used to have that type of fear in my space, but not anymore. Now I'm actively going for the things I want every day, and I trust that it will all work out perfectly as long as I'm doing my part and listening and taking action. So take action toward your goals, toward that business you've always wanted to start. Take baby steps. And if this is truly your thing, your calling, your baby steps will turn into giant steps. And eventually you'll just be going with the flow. And one day you'll wake up and not even recognize yourself, in a great way, of course. And you won't even recognize the life you created, also in a great way, of course. And once you get the hang of this and start to closely watch and closely listen, you'll find yourself doing a lot of different things and changing your mind and changing your path a lot. And that's a great thing. For example, I've been contemplating becoming a dog trainer for probably a year now. I guess that seems to be my lucky number, or lucky time frame rather. And just this week, I reached out to my friend and dog trainer, Abir. She is amazing. I did a podcast with her as well, so definitely go listen to that. It's episode number 3. But back to my story. So I reached out to her this week, just barely this week, after a literal year of just sitting with it and watching it either grow or lessen, just like I did with my podcast. And so I just reached out and asked her if I can shadow her when she is training clients, training dogs. So I took a small, simple step because I know now, I'm sure that I want to learn how to better communicate with dogs. I want to be able to connect with them more. And I want to share this knowledge because I know how important it is. I don't necessarily know if I want to be a dog trainer, but what I do know, what I'm ultra clear about, is the fact that I want to connect more deeply with dogs, with animals. There's so much to learn from them, and I do not want to miss out. And the point of this story is that the simple step of reaching out to Abir, my dog trainer, to learn more from her, led to me knowing 1,000,000% that I want to be a part of some sort of animal rescue team that rescues dogs, animals from situations like Hurricane Harvey, or situations where animals are in horrific, inhumane living conditions. I know that myself in a position like this will check all the boxes for me. I know I'll be helping animals immensely. I don't think it gets any more hands-on than this. I also think there's a need for people to fill positions like this, and I know that it will push me to my edge in every way as well. And funny enough, about a year ago, I started to really consider doing this rescue work, just like this. And I even started the application process with the Humane Society as well. But then I stopped once I heard back from them because I know that this will be a huge commitment and I wanted to be sure. And I only realized that I wanted to possibly be a part of a rescue team like this because post-Hurricane Harvey, I went to Houston, Texas and helped care for almost 1,000 misplaced animals and abandoned animals due to the hurricane. I met up with Best Friends Animal Society, and my desire to do that, that came from me deciding to volunteer at a local animal rescue. So point being is that one action will lead to another. And as long as you're taking action, listening to yourself, your desires, and acting on them, and pivoting when need be, you will be led in the right direction. You just have to be open. You have to listen. Quiet down the chatter in your mind and listen to your heart. Follow your heart. Such a cheesy saying, but it's some real shit. Follow your heart. And how do we do that? By being aware of our thoughts. By being aware of what's real and what's fake. Be aware of what you want and what you don't want for your life. Follow your awareness. Follow your intuition. That is your guide. And how do you get to that point? We take care of ourselves. We love ourselves. We do that meditation every morning. We do that walk or run around the block because that connects us to our bodies, connects us to our hearts, to our souls, and that will allow you to hear more. Hear all the downloads from the universe. Hear all the downloads from your higher self. I know that when I'm doing my breath work in the morning and then do yoga or some sort of workout after, I get so many downloads during and after. So many. These are actions that will get you to yourself faster and get you towards your goals, your passions faster. And I know it's not easy at first. But I promise you won't regret it. Not once. Never have I ever worked out and said to myself, damn, I wish I never did that. Never. And once I realized the undeniable benefits of working out, of meditating, of breath work, now I literally can't miss a day. It's way too beneficial not to just do it. If you don't take care of yourself, you won't be blessed with these downloads because the universe doesn't trust that you'll do anything with them. So why are they going to give them? The universe is like drugs. Drugs only respond well when you trust them. And the universe is the same way. And it's clear you're not trusting the universe when you're stressed, when you're worried, when you're trying to control, when you're listening to your fearful thoughts, listening to your ego. So prove the universe wrong, prove yourself wrong, and push through the fear. Push through that resistance that's telling you you're not good enough, telling you you'll never make it. Those are all just fears, and fears just interfere. See them for what they are, which is pretty much nothing, and move on. Get out of your own way so you can flourish. So, now that we covered all that, what's that thing, or 5 things for that matter, that you know you want to do, you want to start to at least try? And I'll do the same because I got a thing or 2 as well, of course. Let's all go after those things one at a time and enjoy it because you're choosing it. You're showing up for you. Then if that thing's not for you, don't just stick with it because you started it, because you're embarrassed that you told everyone you were going to do this thing. Fuck that. Just forget about it and move on. And other things, other passions will find you. You have to make space for these things. So don't hold on to things that don't serve you. You have to make room for what you truly want and let go of the rest. And also, in case you didn't know, we are the source. You're the source. We already are tapped into the universe, tapped into the downloads, tapped into our intuition, our inner guide. All we got to do is be vulnerable enough, be courageous enough to step out of our comfort zone and be what we want, do what we want, and the rest will follow. Everything you could ever imagine in your wildest dreams will follow. Love you guys. Talk to you next week. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope it was helpful in some way, shape, or form for you. If you want to reach out to me, I would love that. You can DM me on Instagram at Kelsey W. Kyle, KELSEYWKEIL. Let me know what you want to hear, any topics you want me to discuss, or if you want some personal help, I'm here for you. Please just message me, reach out. And like always, if you could leave a rating or review, it is so helpful to me. But yep, love you guys. I will talk to you next week. Cannot wait. Peace.